Hey everybody, it's your dude Unc with STWF TV, and today I'll come here with sad news to report about the truck attack in New Orleans, Louisiana. It was a very tragic and horrific event that I can't believe anyone would think about doing, and let alone conspire to do it. And have the hatred and the tenacity to act upon those thoughts. So my hearts and prayers go out to those families and to the people that were affected by that, because I think it's gonna, this says 10 died and over 35 people injured. But of course, the world was also injured today in this act of terrorism, which, let's just call it what it is. It's definitely an act of terrorism. I think the city of Louisiana, the mayor, the governor, and all the leaders of that area is classifying it as an act of terrorism. And with that, it makes me wonder. It's like, okay, hey, why are we now categorizing this as an act of terrorism? And if this is an act of terrorism, what happened to all the counterterrorism dollars that we put into the United States, into the local and federal government on a daily? Definitely a lot of questions come up as to how we come to this point here, because the city's been preparing for the Sugar Bowl since October. They've also have the Super Bowl this year too. So I would think that security, especially upon the Bourbon Street area, would definitely be heightened. And I think I heard today the lieutenant governor or someone was talking about how they were trying to declare the federal access. I forget the actual verbiage of it. He was supposed to sign it in yesterday, but he's going to do it today. But that's just what I'm used to, it being from New Orleans. Just the government always responding super late or being reactive in a situation where they should be proactive. And it's like they have their attention focused on the wrong things, because I was recently down there and they're not focused on the security. They're focusing on the homelessness, on the plight in the city. They're trying to, for the lack of better wording, sweep all the dirt under the rug or in the closet, because they've recently fenced up the area where the homeless stay. So it's very concerning and intriguing on how the city chooses to use its money and leave the citizens and the tourists and the guests of the city vulnerable to attacks like this. So for those of you that didn't see or haven't heard anything, so you can check some of the footage out in our YouTube shorts. But today, around 3 a.m. this morning, 3:15 a.m. this morning on Bourbon Street, a former U.S. military for 10 years, forgive me, Shamsud Din Jabbar from Houston, Texas, and some may say he's from Beaumont, Texas. He drove a white Ram, or looked like a Ram truck, either a Ram or a Ford pickup truck in Bourbon Street, and it had a flag, an ISIS flag, on the back bumper. It was just astonishing to see, very hurtful, and it just looked like a symbol of hatred, just seeing that there. So he drove down a very populated street, and some people, that haven't been to New Orleans or been out that area in the time of holidays, it's similar. It's like a baby New York Times Square for New Year's. This was New Year's Eve, so it was very, very, very trafficked, and had a lot of people there. So for him to come from Houston, he rented a truck. The authorities, the news that I'm seeing is that they're still trying to figure out how he acquired this truck. He rented it, and I'm guessing, he affixed the ISIS flag to it, and he drove. It wasn't just him. So they're saying that it was he and three other guys and a woman that were seen, on footage, dropping IEDs around the French quarters. And I'm guessing in the truck, because they found an IED in the truck when he, I guess it looked like he may have crashed the truck somewhere, and maybe the store somewhere on Bourbon Street, and then he got out the car. And, he wasn't just satisfied with just causing terror with ramming his truck down a crowded street. He got out in full body armor. So with the intention to kill. If he's coming out with full body armor, he's not trying to say hello. So then he takes out his gun. I think he already had it out. So he points his gun at two local authorities and fires a shot on. And thankfully they're okay. They went to the hospital. I guess they recovered from their minor injuries. But shout out to those heroes. They killed him because I'm pretty sure, if they wouldn't have killed him, he would have continued his killing spree and continue his acts of terrorism because we all know that today was supposed to be the Sugar Bowl. And the Sugar Bowl committee with ESPN and school leadership, they chose to push it back for 24 hours. I mean, come on now, let's be serious. If they're delaying it 24 hours, that's pretty much what the terrorists want because they want to cause terror. They want to either delay an event or kill it off. So to me, it's like we're acting in what these terrorists plan to do. So if we delay it, are we playing into what they planned? So let's think about that. So we know that they wanted to delay it because that's why they did it at this time. And so they could have waited until the Super Bowl, to the Sugar Bowl. They could have done it then, but they chose to do it the morning of the Sugar Bowl. And ironic enough, Shamsud Din Jabbar, he attended Georgia State University. So how could you have seen any red flags here? He's traveling down for the Sugar Bowl. He's attended Georgia, so okay, no red flags there. He's from the military, no red flags there. He's working in real estate, no red flags there. So it's like, okay, how could you have seen this coming? And it's just mind-boggling, and it's like, wow. I'm still trying to process the drama from this, just the gravity of how all of this could have happened, how this guy came so far and did something so atrocious of ramming his truck, killing 10 people, injuring 35, and shooting at local law enforcement. And how do you think the society, the local government will shake back from this? Will they, it's just so many questions that I'm just getting, overwhelmed at just thinking about what this guy has done and how could, someone target this for so long and not have so many red flags. The only red flag that he really had is that, he was recently divorced by his second wife. And her name is Shaneen Chantel Jabbar back in 2020. And she got a restraining order because he was doing stalking her, canceling the credit card, prank calls. So she had to get a restraining order against this guy, and rightfully so. That is a bit weirdo. And, during this divorce, I guess it was a messy divorce. She was ordered to pay $650 a month for child support for 2 kids. Which isn't that much, it's pretty reasonable. So, to me, if he was able to get something that reasonable, that means he must have had lawyer fees or he had some type of representation in the courts during this process, because $650 is not a lot. And if anyone like myself has been through child support court, those courts are definitely for the mother of the child. So that just speaks upon this guy's character. How have you have seen any of this coming? He pays his child support. He's, he graduated from Central High out there in Beaumont in, I think, 2001. And they called him scholarly. They called him quiet. All of these different things that, some may say makes a terrorist, a good killer, a serial killer. But it's like, wow, who am I sitting next to? What are your intentions? What are you watching? So it's just very scary. So right now, I seen Mayor Cantrell ask the public for help. Help on what? We don't even know who this guy is, where he came from. And seems like you all should know more than us. we're the ones that need to ask you all, like, why did this happen? Right before the Sugar Bowl? Right before the Super Bowl? What is going on here? I got a whole lot of questions, but one thing that I just want to point out to the city of New Orleans in that area, that southern region of Louisiana, as a Katrina refugee. We were saying going through the storm, if there was any other city that can handle, if people say God shitting on us, it's New Orleans. So hopefully, the people will come together. The city leaders will galvanize the people, the local leaders, the citywide, the nationwide leaders, and show a moment of unity, because this is definitely an act of terrorism, and we know the terrorists want to cause fear. And I spoke with my grandmother today, and she was like, she was watching the news on this, and just in a chilling tone, she was just like, I won't be scared. I won't let them keep me inside. I'm gonna still go outside. And she mentioned that. I didn't pay too much attention because we were just in conversation. But after a while, I sat back and thought, it was like, wow, we just really had our second course of 9/11. That was a real act of terrorism. And so, how will the city shake back? How will the economy, how will the economy sustain? Because a city that's based off of tourism, 100%, it's definitely a crippling to them. And I've always wondered, after Katrina, will New Orleans ever get back to hosting conventions every day? Watch this, rewind, play. Will New Orleans ever get back to hosting events, conventions every day? New York City didn't even host conventions every day of the year. So just let you know how important New Orleans is, for as with the tourism, the ability to laissez bon temps roulette, the Big Easy, all of that, to now we're a target for terrorism, and with these incoming tariffs coming in, it's New Orleans has one of the biggest ports. So it's a lot of questions and a lot of concerns as to why this happened, and the significance of 11/25, because just like, I lived through 9/11, and, of course, I say 9/11, that's the emergency phone number. So at that point, I realized that, hey, okay, you know what? The date had some significance, so what is the significance of this date? So, and to the very first day of the year. So you can definitely understand that, the government is just going to be locked down. All I can see is, it's the city is going to be locked down. It's going to be, probably impose a curfew, because right now they don't know where this came from, how this got there. And what to me is the biggest concerning factor is he's from the military. And now he has, these ISIS flags. And it's like, well, okay, did ISIS penetrate, our military like that? And if it was him, then if it was one, then who else? And if it was him, then how many of his partners? So I can see why the city or the authorities is asking for citizens assistance, who within the last 72 hours, who he was talking to, what his mindset was, or what anything, because this is scary. This is a sleeper cell, and this is for years. This has been the FBI's, one of their biggest concerns about terrorism is homegrown terrorism, because, it took a long time to make, and a lot of people to make 9/11 happen. So we put up our defense mechanisms against that. But, just like in IT, it's always the people on the inside the field, the force field, as we geeks say, that can bring it down. So what's being brought down here? Is it the integrity of our, citizen, our fabric of America? Is it the confidence in, the FBI, the local government authorities keeping us safe? So these are some of the questions that, I want you all to just think about and chat, drop it in the chat, because I'm definitely be covering this because of it hit home. I'm from there. That's who I am. Shout out to New Orleans. I just came from New Orleans, and honestly, I may have still been down there. Shout out to my cousin. He recently had a funeral, but I could have been down there. So I could have been one of those people that seen a body just boom get blasted right in front of them because this guy ran over this truck. I've already been through a life-changing event with Katrina and seeing all the death and the hopelessness with that. So I won't say this is another Katrina, because a lot of people said and wanted to, and even pastors tried to make it out as like it was something that New Orleans deserved, or something that was just for the city of New Orleans because of it was so bad. Nah, man. New Orleans was targeted with this, just like some may say we were targeted with Katrina, but this was definitely a target. And if we were targeted, then whom else might be targeted? Because some may not know, during 9/11, there was a lot of big places on the terrorist list. I worked for Walt Disney World. That I was interning at Walt Disney, and Cinderella's Castle was also on that list. We had to make preparations for there. But don't want to get off topic. Just let y'all know there's inklings for a coverage of two. Because we're definitely going to be covering this here, and we're going to keep it interesting. So once again, if y'all have any questions, comments, drop them in the chat so I can get them answered and researched for the next clip. But man, once again, shout out to everyone in that area that have family, and shout out to everyone abroad, part of the United States, man. It was time to come together. I said that in 2024, and we see it in 2025. But NOLA strong, and let's get it. Appreciate y'all.